So welcome everybody to this call. Like the idea was to discuss a little bit. We had a lot of questions in Discord about like how the project started, like why is named Elk, or like rationale, what are the plans for the future. So I think like it will be good also like to meet everybody here that has been working a lot in making the app possible. Thanks a lot for that to start with. So like just to kick a start, maybe like we could do like a first like introduction round. I don't know, like maybe Anthony, you can start the introduction round and we go around.
All right. So yeah, my name is Anthony Fu, and I am quite into open source, and I'm currently working for Nux Labs. So as you probably see, that Elk is using Nux, and also a few tools that I made, Uno CSS, Vue use, something like that. So yeah, I'm kind of like when you're making an app, I'm kind of more motivated to improve the tools in order to like boost our productive. So Elk could be also one of the source that you can play with, and to see that how we can make our developer experience better. So yeah, that's me.
Daniel?
I'm Daniel. I'm also on the Nux team. Before that, I had a small software as a service startup, and then I was in agency world before that. So I've been in open source probably only a couple of years, but I absolutely love the idea of sort of giving back as much as possible, because I've benefited so much from so many other people. So it's a delight to collaborate with everybody here, lots of whom I encounter on other repos as well, like Matthias and I have chatted lots about Vite. And obviously there are people doing all kinds of different things, including many of you in the call. So it's a real pleasure. But yes, probably my main thing that I do is Next.
Nice. Yeah, I noticed that I didn't introduce myself. Like I'm Matthias, and like usually known as Patak online, and I'm part of the Vite team. And like Anthony, like this, like doing Elk is a great opportunity to be on the user side and experience what we are building. That is like a really good opportunity because if you don't do something like this, you lose like sight of like why are like I don't know, like what is the experience of people using the tool you do. And it has been like really amazing to see all the fixes around the ecosystem that were introduced because of Elk so far. I work full time on Stackblitz, that they are hiring me to focus on the Vite ecosystem, and that is also kind of like a good opportunity. Elk, how it is working right now, it is amazing to see the community forming, and like we have around 107 contributors. I think it's like hard to keep track. There are like 3-4 new contributors per day, and so like I also want to explore like tools like CodeFlow. Like I'm also interested in that and see how they could help us. So that's kind of my interest also, apart from actually like the app itself, that is is quite nice. I see that Kevin joined us. Kevin, I don't know if you could say a few words about yourself.
Hi, hello. I'm currently in outside, so I could say some few words. Like I think Elk is it's a very good opportunity to provide a best practice to Vue community. Yeah, we use like Vue use Vue macros and PWA and so on. We can run a lot of things from it, and I see many the friends and folks involved from the Vue community. So I'm very happy to see them. Yeah, that's it.
Nice. Yeah, and Vue macros is amazing. So thanks for that, Kevin. And we are in the call also like with some of the long-time contributors to the app. And I don't know, I don't want to push anyone to do an introduction if they don't want, but if you would like, please raise your hand now and like you can at least say a few words. Yeah, go Shini.
Okay. Yeah, hello, I'm Christopher from Germany, known as Shinigami in GitHub or on Elk. And yeah, I'm also part of the Vite core team and participating in the meetings and sometimes triaging issues and so on. Also, I'm the maintainer of Faker.js together with a friend. And yeah, I left Twitter. I didn't delete my account yet, but when I saw that, so first, Dwayne O'Brien said sometimes 2 or 3 months ago that he wants to delete his account. And then I take this as an opportunity to join Mastodon and follow him. And then 1 month later or so, this Elk project started. And because Matthias and Anthony are already here, I'm working with them together in Vite. I started to explore this Nuxt code. And it was my first time using Nuxt and working on the front end with a team greater than 5 people at one front end. And it's really, really interesting to learn stuff from here and there, how auto imports work and how these Vue macros working and so on. At work, I just use a normal Vite Vue TypeScript setup, everything crafted on my own, and I'm not using auto imports, but I use Vue.use a lot, but nothing more higher fancy stuff and so on. And yeah, I'm learning very, very many things from Elk and its code base. And also I pushed, in example, stuff like hashtag things in the project. Like I think I explained to Matthias, hey, you can follow hashtags, and this will populate your timeline and so on. And yeah, I use Elk like 1 or 2 times a day, daily. And so I feel like also I'm a real-time QR user of Elk. And so if I miss anything also, I always use it. Thanks for the directions. I use it a lot. And also I keep up with some other guys from Germany and sync the E18N localization. And yeah, I think, I'm not sure, but Anthony, the E18N li plugin in Beast Code is also from you, and I used that and translated 140 translation keys at once, and then reviewed them and so on the last few days. And yeah, that was also a nice experience and so on. And yeah.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I think Rizumu, you raise your hand, or like that was like playing with the buttons? Okay. Oh, Okay, you're mute, or like then if not, like Michael, go first.
As you want. I can do it. So I'm Mitchell from France. I'm a bit involved in open source since I'm working on VTest UI, and now I'm the French leader of the translation of Vue.js, so not quite completed. But yeah, I'm leading the team for making the Vue 3 docs translated in France, in French. And yeah, I joined Mastodon a few years ago, but not used a lot. But now I just see the Elk coming, and I think, yeah, that's probably just changing the way I'm doing consuming social network. And yeah, I still use Twitter, but I think Elk is the good way, the best way to just make the migration. And I'm leading a Strasbourg GS community also, and I'm thinking to making the migration also to Mastodon. And so yeah, for my I did some work on Elk, mostly on the translation of French translation of Elk. And yeah, and I always be curious on issues and PR raised by all the community behind the Elk. So yeah, that's it.
Okay. So I think like yeah, we can have like more introductions. This is not going to be the last call we do like this. So like just to kick a start, and then later we can like open to questions. But there are certain things that will be good to mention. So later on, if there are these questions, we can like show this video maybe. And one of the questions we got a lot is like how the project started and why the like Elk name. And so I don't know, like Anthony, since you did the first commit, like if you could say a few words about that.
All right. So yeah, talking about the initial of Elk, I think it's quite straightforward. I think probably like everybody knows the story. Oh, you can imagine that. So it's that we have the drama on Twitter, and probably we would like to find some alternative of Twitter, and then we have the Mastodon, which is perfectly fits to what we used to do. It's open source and it's decentralized, and you got a control of your content. So yeah, I think at that time I saw that Matthias is migrating to it. So that's the first time I know Mastodon. And the only login that you see that the interface is not really friendly. And I think at the times signing is still not yet 4.0, which is, I think the front end is more like a MPA, which like you click the button and it will refresh the whole page. So yeah, honestly, the experience is not very good. And compared to Twitter, when you do the migration, you will have a kind you got a bit down, I think. So they have some blockers for you to migrate in terms of the experience. So, and I was trying to contribute to this, like maybe we could improve the Mastodon since it's open source. And then looking into the code, you see that it's a Rails, and it's really hard, you know. And it's kind of more like the traditional backend powered front end. So I thought that if we could have a Vue version that would make it easier to maintain and for open source contributor to contribute to like improve the UI. So also I think that could be a good showcase for Nux to show his full power, since Nux will have like server-side rendering, will have a lot of server-side APIs, which could be better. And so also with the mind that maybe if we do this one, so if we do this one with Nux, and since nowadays we have a lot of framework, I think this could be a good chance for like maybe all the front-end framework to join the force to say, okay, they have their own version of a client of Mastodon, and the competition will be good. Is that you can learn from each other, and also you can benefit the entire Mastodon community if we can see different approach of making a client for Mastodon. So that's what I'm thinking. So it was initially called Mastodon, if you know. So, and then we kind of think maybe we should have a like more friendly name. So Daniel sent a list of ancient animals, since Mastodon is one of them. So then we pick elk. It's a quite like straightforward name, and it's quite nice, right? And I think that's the story. And now we have I was just kind of starting to thinking maybe just start a project and to see where we can go. And now it stands really well, thanks to all of you to contribute to this project, and it got way more bigger than we expected. So thank you. And
I think that Piotr had the hand raised, or that was also playing with the emojis.
Yeah, I've written that the front end of Mastodon is actually written in React, but it's very dirty. I tried to commit to that, but it's Redux and it's horrible.
Okay.
yeah, I know that in 4.0 is getting better. The developer experience, the user experience. I think that now seems a bit like SPA, and server, it's like server end routes plus SPA. I think at least you won't get full refresh when you navigate. I think it's good, but I'm not sure if before that it was using React, or it's like refactoring into React recently. But yeah, I'm not a React guy actually. So yeah. Oh yeah. So I was sending a post in Mastodon to say maybe let's have a Vue version. What do you think? And that's how we start.
Yeah. I remember that like you sent to Daniel and me like that initial message. Hey, like this is the private repo I started, like, and there were like just like 2-3 commits with using Master.js that actually helped us a lot. Like shout out to Neat, because it gave us a TypeScript like way to access the API, and Neat has been like great. At the beginning, for example, we had an issue that the license was not met, so we were thinking if we could use it or not, and Neat, not only because of us, there were another issue open, but like they like move to meet licensing, so we could also do that. And after that initial like invite from Anthony, and like we were just at the same time talking with Daniel. I don't know, like Daniel, if you could tell a bit about like web tools, maybe, because it is kind of at the same time related to what happened.
Sure. So again, as Anthony said, there was this things seemed to be getting very bad on Twitter. It's suddenly sparking this interest in Mastodon. And immediately I thought, well, what if we could create initially I thought, what if we could create a Nuxt server on Mastodon? And so there was a little discussion in the Nuxt team, should we do this, should we not do this? And I think in the end we decided to pause it for a bit. But more and more I thought, I would like to have a server where there are maybe there's a sense of unity in terms of what the people are about, a server that's quite small, so that you are not suffering some of the disadvantages of having large servers. At this time as well, there was a discussion about maybe some Mastodon instances blocking large instances like Mastodon Social and others, which obviously was very worrying because I don't want to be blocked. I'd like to see all kinds of content from people. And so I think it was Nate, was it Nate from Astro who first posted something, and I think pretty quickly both Patak and I commented that actually we'd love to create some kind of server for creators of web tools, sort of in the web ecosystem. And long story short, it took a long time for us to find a domain name and a name for the server. Very long time. Limited by also domain availability and the quirks of domain registrars. Finally, we got web tools, and we started a little server, just for not many people, but aligned with the idea of web tooling, and so we've gradually been very slowly increasing the people on web tools. Obviously, Elk is part of that, and the timeline should be very friendly to Elk because it's the creator of lots of tools like this. You may have more to add, Patak and Anthony, who are also involved right at the very beginning of creating web tools.
No, like I think you did like a very good description of the story, and I think it's a good home for Elk because like the Vite account is there, like the Nux account is there, the Vitesse account is there, and like the accounts of the maintainers of these projects are also there. So it is interesting. Like one thing that maybe is good to say is that we made it like invite only because we just started this and we don't know how, like, what are the costs or the moderation overhead, and like we are like a very small team that has a lot of things to do, and also like it is interesting to us that maybe like I don't know, I wouldn't want web tools to have like 10,000 users. I would love for like tons of little servers to appear. And so like there is also ViewLand, for example, now, and maybe Nux will have a server at one point too. And like there are like other servers that are coming soon. Companies like Medium are starting their own servers. So like I think it's going to be like interesting to really use the federation nature of the network. And like making it invite only is a way to add that friction also to like kind of push for more servers to appear. And yeah, I see like we could say like a little bit more about the formation of the team. Like after Anthony did that first commit, then like Daniel and me are starting to commit, and soon after Kevin like also joined. And it was like a machine. Like when Kevin joined, like you can see the contributor graph. Like Kevin spent like 2 weeks, like basically getting the app like to a good shape, and we had like that first explosion, and then we did something that worked quite well for us when we started Vitesse with Anthony. Vitesse was a sponsorware at the beginning, so we like added to the Discord, like private Discord, only like the people that sponsor us. And this time we didn't want to do that because there were like 4 of us, and it was a little bit more like there was like some complexity there. So we still wanted to have this feeling of like building in a more like quiet space with people that really care about this, and not to promote it that much when it is really not ready for consumption. Like we are seeing, like even right now that the app is working quite well, we see comments from people saying, but something doesn't work. Yeah, because it's alpha, you know, like there's like you shouldn't use it right now if you expect like everything to be there. But still, like if you start to like open too soon, you are going to have like a lot of that. So we started with a private Discord. We started to invite first a lot of the people that usually work with us, and that was really nice because a lot of the integration with plugins were done by the plugin authors themselves. So like it was good in the same way that for us to exercise Vite and Nux, they also like, I don't know, user Kim, for example, like did the plugin PWA integration that is like now one of the key features that everybody is talking about. And the same with others like Acronym with the virtual scroller that like fixing bugs on it for it to work better. And yeah, the same for others. And then we started to like promote a little bit more, but never sending the link to elk.zone openly, just like letting people do like the talk. And yeah, like the server is starting to grow quite fast. We luckily got help from GitHub that allow us to have like a team, kind of like, yeah, without paying. We could have like the private setup and protect the main branch, so we can give right access to everybody. And in the end, we end up, before opening last week, we end up with 250 people inside. So it was no longer kind of, it was like semi-open at that point already. And it was really interesting because at the time we opened with that 250 people, there were like at least almost 70 people that merged it appear. That is like quite impressive, even if it will be open for a really long-standing project. And yeah, like that, again, like Anthony said, like thanks to everybody that contributed so far. Shini, you have the hand?
Yeah. One additional thing to mention would be, I think it was a good idea to start it like that in closed alpha, and all contributors that are using Elk in this alpha, in this closed alpha phase, have view, read, and so on technical knowledge, and so always if they found a bug, they directly sent a pull request, or at least explained it in an issue like, this is not working, can we do it like that? And so on. And they are all of the contributors are very helpful and guiding and so on, and always has directly an idea and not only complaining that doesn't work. And that's also very, very cool.
Yeah, and that gives us also a good base when we open up. Now the new people that are joining, there is already a community form that is hard to get at the beginning. Kevin, I don't know if you, like, that was also playing with the emojis. I think around should work in the UI. Yeah, okay. Does anyone has like some questions to put in the table?
Why is Elk named Elk?
That Anthony said like a little bit that it was called Mastodon at the beginning, and I like a lot the name. And it was like at the beginning with the like Nax color branding, so it was everything green. Now it's like hard to imagine it at that point. But the problem with calling Mastodon is that it made me maybe like a little bit more difficult for other people maybe to accept it. I don't know, like Elk is a more, as Anthony said, like friendly, generic name.
It's very technical.
Yeah, and why? Yeah, Naxon is a bit technical, and yeah, like why is that? Is that Daniel's share like the idea of like choosing an animal that was living at the same time of the mastodons. So like there was this page where we had like a lot of animals, and we all went there, and we came up, and everybody say elk. So that was like quite nice, and we started playing with some logos, and yeah, like that was like 1 hour maybe discussion, and like Anthony sent a commit like not long after that, and then Naxodon became orange, and that was kind of like the rebranding done.
I think it is worth saying that is the idea that Elk is about, is what part of the ethos is being open to new ideas and trying different things. We don't want to pin our flag to a particular piece of our technology stack. You know, even if there's a better solution at any point, we're up for that. This isn't about, you know, we don't want there to be any agenda here. And I think also that is partly what has made Elk move so quickly to start with. Like someone coming in and just saying, hey, I have a solution for this. I've built a library for that. Let me implement it for Elk. Like Joaquin doing with the PWA. module, which really there was no plugin PWA integration for Nuxt. There were some other PWA integrations for Nuxt, but Joaquin came in, built a module, made it happen, and I think that's why it was able to grow so quickly. But I think that's something I care a lot about, and I think that's true of everyone.
Yeah, I think like that, like I don't know, like we should do a lot of shout outs to a lot of people from the communities, like Jonas, for example, from Tauri, that he came and like in one, I don't know, like it was like 3 hours, he had like a prototype of like Elk Rapid in Tauri, and show us that like that was possible, and we created like the Elk native repo, and he had been hacking there. And that's like really interesting. There has been a lot of people that got interested in Elk because of Tori, like because they saw that we were kind of had that repo, and that was open a lot sooner because we need it for the GitHub actions. So that has been like quite interesting. And also like for people in Mastodon in general, like we had like quite a good reception, and people that are not even technical but has been using Mastodon for a long time, they had joined our community and they are explaining to us how like other tools in the Fediverse work, because it will be interesting that Elk doesn't, like it's not only like Mastodon only. So they have been joining, and like yeah, it's really interesting how like everybody is already like helping in whatever way they can to make this possible. Okay. If we don't have like questions, I can continue asking some that I maybe one and another one for Anthony. There are some things that we even had the opportunity to discuss, but like what do you see as like long-term goals for the project?
Are you asking me?
Yes, like we can decide right now in the call. It's a good opportunity.
Oh, really? Okay. I don't really know. Actually, I think I kind of like what it is currently is. Like people will use it and have it like have its own ideas or like or find any bugs. So to see that to bring up the table to see if we could have this, or yeah, if you could, they will also like do the pull requests themselves. So I think that could be a good thing, is that you kind of motivate by the feature you want to work on, you want to have, and then if that makes sense to the rest of us, so we could have it. So you got the motivation to working on it, and also that would be the features that comes from the chill need, the chill need. So you really need that features. Probably some others would also need that. So I think the way that open source work, or the currently how Elk works is quite nice. So honestly, I don't have really a good like big picture of Elk. I kind like what it is. So maybe we could have a more detailed discussion about what do we want. But I think in general, I would like to have maybe making it being able to host on the server, okay, or maybe it make it easier, and probably we should like polish our UIs and add more settings about the fine grained thing. And also I'm also thinking that just more features, like maybe we should sync with Twitter or something for people to migrate easier. So it's not like the bots that retrace your post, but instead that it creates a same post with the same content and maybe link to each other. I don't know. Just some ideas. So that's just more details we could discuss. But I don't know. What do you think about what you want to have? Like, yeah, my question is open to everybody if you want.
Yeah, one of my ideas, when I joined the Egg project, there were 30 open issues, and then I opened 70 more issues. I feel like then suddenly we had 100 issues. But one of my personal main issues would be to have maybe an example hover cards when you hover over a hashtag in a post, then you can see stats and follow it directly without going to the hashtag site and so on. And yeah, doing more stuff with hashtags, because hashtags are far more driver for the timeline than it was on Twitter, in my opinion, because with hashtags you get more from every side, and there's a hashtag you can follow, and sometimes folks are using this hashtag to propose and introduce other hashtags you could follow and so on, and this widens your bubble and so on. And yeah, that's why I think that's a good opportunity to make more progress in that direction. To, yeah, for example, to start with hover over a hashtag or like over a mention person or account, and we already support popping up a card when you hover over a person, but hopefully we can do this also for hashtags. Yeah. But I personally do not have the knowledge to implement such stuff.
There's time. There's time. Daniel, would you have some like goals, personal goals, or?
I think I would say that as Elk becomes more popular, there's going to be also widely divergent views of where it should go and develop. And so I think it will be a challenge to make sure we have a sort of unity of development while still being open to new approaches. Like we mustn't make it everything, and that is, I think that will be tricky. I do think it would be very interesting to explore some of the to use Elk as a test bed for doing things like building out more generic Towery integrations or PWA integrations or things like that that can be used in other projects too. So I'm really interested in seeing how can the development in Elk enable people to do similar things in completely different projects, and that's something I think would be very, very interesting. I'm personally also very interested in deployment. So we plan to deploy Elk as a front end to web tools and make it, again, very easy to do that. Maybe even provide some guidance to completely replacing the default Mastodon UI with Elk if somebody wanted to do that. Like, how would that be possible? We still need to have quite a lot of features in Elk before that would even be likely. And so that is quite a big and a long-term thing. So there's lots of an admin interface, there's quite a lot of moderation, there's huge amounts of that, and there are some issues tracking that. That's not a sort of top priority by any means, but it is something that might be interesting down the line. So there, there are some fun things in sort of the server integration and thinking about deployment that I think I'm particularly interested by.
Nice. Kevin, would you like to say something, or if not, I go? I don't know if Kevin is around. Okay, yeah. So I'm very interested, like, in something that was said before of Elk dualing as a learning tool. I think like we have tons of little prototypes. Normally, like open source, when you say like someone like, oh, how is a Nux app, or like how do you do a Vite app, or where do you learn how to do a big application? And we have like tons of like, let's say, Hacker News sized projects, or like even there are like some Twitter clones, but it's like very bare bones, let's say, like just the timeline and nothing more. And Elk is a great opportunity of like having like a very like a complete application that like takes care of like the like very polished things that you only see once you develop an application for like a lot of time, because there are a lot of optimizations that came later in time. So that is quite interesting to me. And then the other thing like about like the app itself, I think it will be great to have feature parity with the Mastodon official client. As like Daniel said, that will enable these deployments. And another interesting thing to me is that because like the code now feels so malleable, the like what we were able to do, for example, with the GitHub cards, social expansion, that to me was like so interesting. First, like also shout out to Jason that like works in GitHub, and we didn't have like the meta in the meta information. We didn't have the author of the PR, and that was added in like 2 days, deployed to production. So Elk can actually render the HTML expansion, dropping the social image card for GitHub PRs and issues with all the proper information. So that like big shout out there. And that is quite interesting because like we haven't seen that done like in other platforms. And also like one of the first things that Anthony added to the project and was one of the first kind of discussions was like Markdown support, like using like Shiki for like code blocks, like finally being able to share proper code blocks like in an accessible way, like with proper form. Like that's something that is so amazing for like a social network, at least from the dev side. And it's really nice now that like I'm seeing like the timeline, and I see tons of devs that are now using Markdown in their post, and you see then later that it was sent by Elk. So I think it was a real need, and yeah, like that is quite interesting to me. There are a lot of ideas coming into that front also. So we will see how this continues. There are a lot of raised hands. Like wait, Ashini, like is first is Priya.
I just wanted to say something for the Markdown stuff.
Okay.
And it's another topic for that. So I feel like a little bit it's funny to see how we just implemented the Markdown highlighting and so on for post and so on. And there's an issue like open for some years, I think, requesting at Mastodon they should implement this Markdown feature. And we just did it.
Okay. So that might be a good idea. Maybe I should go to Mastodon repo because I'm coming from React land. Maybe I should go there and implement that.
Yeah, it will be nice. I think they wanted to, like at one point they were thinking to have this support like server side, like already sending formatted, but like we believe that the client side is a better approach. So like Shiki is evolving, like we have like bug fixes in the render, like so Markdown is a good format like to store this in a way that doesn't already like do the pre-markup in HTML and then you can not play with it anymore.
I would say sending just markup and formatting on the front-end side is better for all the apps that using API, for example, for mobile. I think they would have to parse the HTML and it wouldn't make sense. And I remember that I stumbled upon Elk when Nate from Astro proposed and I think he tried to implement Markdown rendering for Mastodon, and then I saw that Elk has that already implemented. That was the time I jumped on the Elk train. And I think I see Elk as a production grade app, but where you can learn and play with new things like Tauri. That great because it's big and it's not the same when you try to build a small app to play with Tori for yourself than when you are trying to use it for something like Elk. That's a great thing.
Sini?
Yeah. I want to make a shout out to Snagak and Lucy because at the start, like 1 month after the project started, Snagak and Lucy joined the Discord, and Snagak had very, very much accessibility knowledge, and sadly I couldn't participate, but one day you had a meeting with him and improved the user experience and accessibility. Like 2 days before that, I always found out like color ratios didn't fit so well and so on, and the contrast of text on buttons are not that good. I directly saw that as a front-end developer, but I didn't have that much experience about that. And then Snagak came up and made a session about that and have more explanation and tools to check it, not only Chrome DevTools, but also other websites and so on. And yeah, you can see the meeting on YouTube. I think it's recorded, and maybe we can later put it also in the description
Yeah.
if you want to.
I think we can put it in the maybe we are going to start an Elk YouTube channel, so we can upload this video and we can ask a Snack also to upload that one too, because that was kind of also like
awesome. Would be awesome.
Yeah.
And Lucy implemented. So I opened the issue having problems with the preview card when you click on an image. Full screen preview is now displayed and so on, and you can navigate to multiple images if there are multiple. And I didn't know how to do that, and then I go to bed and sleep one night, and then the next day I saw Lucy implemented everything for that, and I just checked the code and reviewed and learned from her and was amazed. And I thought, yeah, perfect, thanks. Yeah. So huge shout out to these both.
Seconded. Michael?
Yeah. So I would just have something to share, something about Daniel just told before about much of feature added a few days ago, and I already shared with you, but Matthias. So I just want to share my opinion. I don't know if it's correct, but I thought that when I work with Elk, I see a lot of feature added, and most of them was still in iteration, not stable, not stabilized yet. So I just think that probably for all the Elk stuff, but also for all the contributor, we can probably just suggest or showing all the feature in progress. I don't know the form, but for example, milestone or project, but it's not about issues, but a global feature. For example, the feature I just helped me to think about this is about the code block, stackbits code blocks for the preview card. And something it's still just added in the main branch, but still in iteration. So it could be helpful for all the contributors to get an overview of all features not finished yet. And this probably will prevent some to push something or to be more confident on production push. Also, yeah, about this first point, I don't know if someone is sharing the same opinion than me. And I know probably to be more confident, we should also work deeper on testing on this subject. And I'll try to push this. Yeah, it's a very complex subject, as it's not done in the same time we are developing, as we are in alpha and prototyping. So yeah, that's my thought.
For context, because we talked a bit with Michael also like by DM about this, and like what I say is that it will be lovely to like have all this overview, but it's at this point extremely hard to keep up, because there are so many, like 107 people like contributed to Elk so far, and in each release every 2 days there are like, I don't know, like 10 new features, and in different kind of like progress level, and updating all that without relying on like issues and PR in GitHub. That is what we have at this point for tracking. It is like kind of a challenge of like how you do to like don't have like that overhead kind of go against you. But if someone has an idea of, Michael, like if you want to try some tooling to give that overview, like it could be even just like documentation, you know, like that you have like a list of all the features that we should have in documentation, and some kind of like percentage of implementation, or like some confidence level of how we feel about the feature, like in like tiers, let's say like experimental or like complete or like something like that. I don't know, like Daniel, maybe like if Volta could help there, like if there are like tools in that regard, like the roadmap that we started could help in that.
So I was talking to the team building Volta, and I think they would be very, they build it. They basically built Volta for open source devs to do what we need to do, which means that we can basically ask for what we want, and they'll be very responsive. So I was asking for roadmap support to have nice little sort of bands and priorities, so we can actually display that as well as our issue board. But I think they'll be, basically, if you have ideas about the best way to use that, I love Volta. It's really, really helpful to prioritize. The notifications, for example, is great. Being able to watch the repository or engage it and see things coming in. It's a delight. So if we can take advantage of some of their willingness to build stuff for us, that would be, I think, really nice.
Nice. I say, Michael, you should get in a call with them and explain some ideas then. Kevin, you have your hand. Yeah.
Okay, finally back home, and I want to show you guys some an interesting tool, like a toy. We can actually we can use currently we can use Mastodon to log in only, but I want to explain. Expand our the back end like Miss Key. So there's a same thing like Mastodon called Miss Key is based on activity pub, and my friend implements a converter, means you can use the Mastodon API, but it will forward your quest to a Miss Key backend server, and there's already support like instance API and the contents lookup API, and if he implements all necessary API, we can in the future we can use Elk for Miss Key website. It's a very experimental thing, and it's working on progress. I can give you the repo link. You can check it out. It's pretty. I think it's pretty great, and I think we can have more. The social media website like Mastodon, Miss Key, and some others. I don't know actually. Yeah, that's it.
That's awesome.
What do you think?
That's really good. Rizumu was also saying that Pleroma was like working a bit, and there were some people in Mastodon now that were trying, and some things are working, some things are not. Like if people from the like expanded Fediverse and not Mastodon are listening to this, and like it will be great that Elk could serve as a base for all this project. We need to see if we can add some things to core or make it easy to consume and extend and fork it to others. But there is a Fediverse channel in our community, so like get involved and help us. At this point, like just reaching feature parity with Mastodon itself, like it's a lot of work, but I think we are enough people that if they are interested, they can move forward in parallel with all the other platforms too. And it's great. I didn't know this, Kevin. Is awesome.
Okay, and I would like to introduce imagine of my I think the plugin system, which is implemented by a user or a developer of Elk. And there's a pull request already, and let me check it first. I discussed some detail with him, and I think we can have a very the very powerful or the powerful plugin system, and I think it's like a Figma's plugin. Users can install some plugin from npm or something else, whatever. But we don't censor them. So and there's another thing is that we should consider about security to avoid some bad plugin to store your cookie or other token. Yeah, found that. And I discussed with him some we can implement the plugin by PWA, which is they can modify the response or request and modify the resources, the bundle, the JavaScript code, and the plugin can change it and return to the service worker. And yeah, and we can provide some hooks. For example, we have a lot of fields icon. It's account metadata icon. So I think we can put it into a plugin because there are tons of icons. We can't put them all into main repo. So we can provide some hooks, something like metadata icon or I just forget then whatever. And we can just like rollup or Babel, we can just reference them. Yeah, that's it.
Nice. Yeah, we really need to get the security story correct to enable that, but it will be like interesting, even like for self-deployment, where the security this story is completely different. Like there is a lot of possibilities there. It's great, Kevin. Shini, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I would like to ask. I think we already have this when you first time go onto Elk, then you see this dialogue saying, please insert your Mastodon instance to log in. And there we have auto-completion. And could we also make something like a registration site, and then you can select one of the possible instances and create an account there, and then so we have a seamless Elk experience without leaving Elk, and you don't need to go to a Mastodon provider, register there an account, then come back to Elk, make an OAuth process, and so on. But having everything directly on Elk.
I don't know, Daniel, if you have like some answer for that. Like I would love for sync up to be implemented at one point, and like we need it for like replacing the Mastodon instance. So I will think that it's possible, but I haven't looked into the details of like how difficult it is.
So just to be clear, the specific question is, do we skip the OAuth process completely, and serving Elk like from the domain, we're able to already sort of be authentic, like you just log in, and it directly interacts with it. I mean, that would be a very interesting thing to explore. So I'm very interested in that. But I think that the thing that we have to overcome is that a lot of the API endpoints that we are actually hitting are not separate from the Mastodon web UI, I think. So because it's a Rails app and it's a monolith app, so even though there is this front end, the front end, like the front end and the API are and some of the what the front end does is quite tied into the API itself. So I think it's like, for example, with GitHub. So there's some things you can only do via the web interface. There is no API exposed to do it because GitHub will add a token into the HTML, and you need that token in order to perform the action. It works with a monolith, but the moment you try and separate it out, it becomes tricky. But I think these are all soluble problems, and we can provide PRs to Mastodon if we need to. And it's certainly an interesting thing worth exploring. I'd be very interested to hear where Gargaran plans to go with Mastodon from the UI point of view, and also whether he is open or interested in having different kinds of UIs or swappable ones. Because I know he's been asking questions about user interfaces. I saw there was a job advert at some point about getting someone to come and make some design improvements to the current one. So, this is not a problem we're solving on our own. This is, we're part of a bigger community, and I think a community that is very receptive to Elk. And so, yes, I'm not sure that answers any question. I think it's probably not possible to do straight away, but let's talk about it. Let's track it in an issue. Let's figure out what the blockers are.
Yeah. Rizumi and Piotr are already chatting about it. Yeah, exactly like that. There's an instance.social website, and there you can see on a table how many users an instance have and so on. But this integrated into Elk, and when you register, you just select from a list, I would like to register on that provider on this instance, and then if you select it, you can see this is currently closed for registration, or this is currently open for registration, and then register an account. yes, you need still to OAuth process for the login. I don't want to omit that in any way also, but like having Elk as a full client and then yeah, register your new user like on Twitter, and then yeah, you don't need to go to a provider explicitly, create an account there, and then log in on Elk.
A lot of things to explore. Like let's do the issue and like let's continue the discussion there. And that is like a good segue into like getting involved. And like if like you are watching this video, like we need tons of help. And
Yes.
like not only in like implementing issues, but like just being around in the community, helping others get started. Like that could be like really useful. Triaging issues, like reviewing PRs, like testing what others are doing. Starting to use main.elk.zone, that is our alpha version, that the alpha of the alpha is like the canary version, so that we like get regressions detected before they hit other users. So there is a lot of even non-technical work to do. Like there is a lot of like documentation where that is kind of technical, but like a lot of things that you can get involved. So like, yeah, you're more than welcome to join us. I don't know, like Anthony, Daniel, Kevin, if you want to ask or like say some more things or have others ideas.
About the multiply content, I already submit a PR, logging as a guest, so I can answer the question from. I think by default we can we already switch it to the web tools now. Yes, so when user want to register a new account, we can provide a server list like the link I just provided. And we can just fish the data from the website join Mastodon.org and show it instead of user need to input the server domain. Yes.
Yeah, and there is a good API to get like we should have like cards with banners. Like there is a lot of work to do to help on the onboarding process, even to hint, for example, like help on the Twitter migration, offer a tool like Mastodon. But I don't know if all the tools are going to continue to work now. Like we can check, but it will be nice to give hints and like Elk could help a lot more users. So that is also, we need help. And again, with accessibility, like Elk is alpha because of a reason. Like we need a lot of work there too. So if there are accessibility experts listening to this, like please join us and help us. I don't know. I think like it was like an hour. So Anthony, Daniel, Kevin, I don't know if you have something else. If not, like we could wrap and do another one later.
The only thing I would say is just absolutely underline what you've already said, Matthias, which is thank you, everybody. Because Elk is like, I don't think I've been in a project that is just so much the product of incredibly talented and helpful people who are always pitching in and solving problems when they see it. It is amazing to be part of it and to so thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, folks.
Okay.
Matthias, I would ask, I could make one more shout out. I asked you on Discord if I am allowed to make that shout out. at the farm channel.
I don't see where, but
in the farm channel, right? I'm about the GitHub and closed stuff.
we already did it. Like I already thanked like GitHub for that. Yeah, and also like it's good to like give a shout out. Like there are too many people to do it, but like another one like security wise, like the work that Jay did from the Preact team that joined us and like patched a lot of security issues that was extremely important, and how they did it and how they even explain it. That was really, really good. And also like shout out to like everyone that like is helping in the sponsor side already, like Naxlab, Staglitz, like Supernova, for example, from the Universe.zone server, and everyone that is like chipping in already. Like I think that there were like 30 folks. So yeah, thanks so much. And yeah, Ashot, like we were wrapping up, but at least you can say hi before, and then you see the video.
Hey, are you?
Ayo.
Hey, hello.
Hey.
Yeah, you came for the goodbyes. So like,
Goodbye.
Yeah. you can see the video is going to be online.
I'll watch it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
nice to see you first time in real face.
Yeah,
Okay,
nice to see you all.
See you around.
See you all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks
Bye.
a lot.